What's up, Raider Nation? This is the Violator. You're watching the Raider Homer channel.
Yarr, this is Captain Jack, and you are listening to the one and only Raider Homer here on his YouTube channel. Why aren't you here more often?
How's it going, Raider Nation? Welcome back to the Raider Invasion Podcast. I'm Raider Homer, and joining me today in this episode is Raider Mark, aka the Talking Raider Shield. You've seen him on social media, and you see him every week on the Raider Homer pregame show, which is live in the Raider Homer channel group on Facebook. So how's it going, Raider Mark?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm really glad that we finally got to do this. You know, I know we talked about it for a while, so I'm happy we finally got around to it.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Now let me start off by saying that I really enjoy working with you on 3 Keys to Victory. You know, and I'm glad I finally get to sit down and share your story with the Raider Nation.
Yeah, you know, thank you. I feel the same way. I mean, you produce some really good shows, and I'm just honored, you know, to be part of your process.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the kind words. You know, and it's, you know, you got, like I've said in the past, you got a really cool idea, man. You have a really cool persona, and, you know, there's a lot you can do with the Talking Raider Shield. So let's go back to before you were known as Raider Mark, the Talking Raider Shield. When and why did you become a Raider fan?
You know, I know for me it started with my dad. And he started talking about the Raiders when I was pretty young. And I really didn't understand the game. And as I got older, I started watching the games with him on TV. And I think the first time I sat through a whole game was like Super Bowl 18 back in '84. And I think watching that game and feeling, you know, the pride in the room that day, it really hooked me. And I know that's probably the day I became a fan. But, I mean, I really started learning the game when I started playing Pee Wee football. It was for an organization called the Miniature Football League. And they used NFL team names, and I was picked by the Raiders. And I remember getting my uniform and pads and putting on that black jersey and, you know, silver helmet with the Raider shields on the side, you know, for the first time, you know. And, like, right after that same week, you know, I got to meet Cliff Branch, who let me wear a Super Bowl ring. And you know what? After that, and until this day, I've led silver and black. And, I mean, that's pretty much my story in a nutshell.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, dude. I remember being a kid, you know, I played Pop Warner also, but I played for the Cowboys, boo. But hey, you know, I played my heart out, you know what I mean? And that's when I grew to love football. But I remember, you know, wearing that old Marcus Allen, like, I think it was a Rydell outfit, you know, and I would put the helmet on, man. I would run around, you know, in the front yard pretending I was a Raider. You know, scoring touchdowns, you know, kicking field goals, punting the ball, making interceptions. You know, of course, all I did was just throw the ball in the air and catch it, you know, and pretend like I was making an interception or, you know, catching a touchdown, man. But
oh, yeah, definitely. The good old days.
Yeah, the good old days, wearing the silver and black helmet, you know, and the outfit and the uniform, man. It was definitely the good old days, man. So, you know, you just talked about Cliff Branch, man. Is he your favorite Raider player of all time?
You know what? I mean, you would think he is, and I really have so much love for Cliff Branch. But, you know, I'd have to say my favorite player is probably the Snake. I mean, to me, he represents the Raiders, you know, with his rebellious attitude. He was a great leader. I mean, he drank, but you know, he drank hard and he lived hard and he played, you know, even harder on Sundays.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he helped us get our first Super Bowl, you know, and he was just so a part of so many memorable plays, you know, throughout our years. I mean, I remember like Go to the Pose, the Holy Roller, See It Hands. Yeah. And he was just a great player. And to me, he was just the epitome of what a Raider is.
Studying that playbook by the light of the jukebox, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
The Legend of Snake.
Exactly. Yeah, love the dude.
Hell yeah, he's awesome, man. You know, my favorite player though, man, is Bo Jackson, dude. You know, that guy was so huge, man, when I first got into football. I mean, he was bigger than Michael Jordan. You know,
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, dude. Just before Jordan, you know, blew up and started winning all those championships, Bo Jackson was like the biggest athlete of all time. You know, that's he to me. He kicked off that whole Nike campaign. You know, when Nike started signing football players and whatnot. You know, I'm sure there were other players before, but like Bo Jackson was the first super fan or
Yeah, for sure.
superstar for the Raiders. You know.
Yeah, and it's just it's what could have been too. You know what I mean? I mean, his career was so short.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he could have probably been one of the greatest ever. You know.
Yeah, man. That it sucks that his story ends with the what if question. You know.
Right.
Because he was something special. Imagine him and Stabler
definitely.
on the same team.
Yeah, right. I mean, you had the air attack and the ground attack. There'd just be no stopping.
No way. We'd have beat the Steelers in the 70s on all those times that we lost. We'd have beat the Steelers.
Right. And those were all narrow losses too. I mean, they were like hard fought. You know what I mean? It's not like we just laid down. I mean, every year it was the Raiders or the Steelers in that championship.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I wish that rivalry was the same as it now as it was then. You know, that would be fantastic to see the Raiders play that well. You know.
Right.
So here
one day we'll get back to it.
Oh yeah. The silver and black will be back. You know. And so, here on the Raider Homer channel, we like to remember Al Davis by sharing our favorite stories or memories of Al. You know, and one of my favorite stories of Al is coming from the Behind the Shield book. And it's more of a takeaway, you know. But I love that Al, as loyal as he was, didn't hold back. He kept people on their toes, you know what I mean? And I love how he tested you to try to get you to crack, you know. He wanted to know if you knew what you were talking about or if you were just faking it. But I especially love how many people in Behind the Shield quote him dropping the F-bomb. Mr. Davis, you were missed. But enough from me talking Raider Shield. Share your story or your memory of the late, great Al Davis.
Well, man, I have so much respect for Al. And there's so many stories, but the thing that really impresses me the most is the way he came into the league. I mean, he came from nothing and he became one of the most recognized owners, not only in football, but just all of sports. He was a football genius, and he clawed his way through the ranks. He started as an assistant coach in LA, and the early Raider owners, they were so impressed by him that they lured him from LA and they gave him a small ownership in the team just so he would coach there. And he took those early Raiders, he changed their colors to silver and black, as we all know. He hired a bunch of outlaws, renegades, and outcasts, and he started a winning tradition in Oakland. Eventually, as we all know, he brokered the merger between the two leagues as the AFL commissioner. And then he went from coach and partial owner, to become the president of the general partner and the majority owner of the Raiders. And to me, I mean, it's just a great story. And I think one day somebody just has to make a movie out of it.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it 2 or 3 times. I'd buy the DVD, the Blu-ray
Right?
too, you know. So while we're all one nation and no fan is more super than the next fan, there are fans who take their fandom to the next level. And you're one of them. Your Talking Raider Shield persona, as I said earlier, is a fantastic idea. When did you come up with the idea?
Well, thank you, first of all. But let me think back. I have to think back a little bit. It's probably about 6 years ago. Yeah. My brother, he let me play with this animation program that he did for school. And I thought it was pretty cool. And, the first thing I thought of was it would be really cool if I could play with this, like a Raider face and make it talk. And I never really thought of putting it out there for everyone to see. It wasn't I wasn't even into social media. I think at that time I still had a MySpace account, and I barely even used that. Yeah. So one day I heard about this contest on the Raiders website, and they wanted to know, why do you love the Raiders? And, the winner was supposed to win like season tickets or ticket to a game or something like that. And, you know, that's when the light bulb kind of went off for me. And I was like, you know what, what if instead of writing an email, you know, why I love the Raiders, what if I just made a video with that talking face? You know, so I figured nobody else was going to do this. And so it'd probably give me an advantage in the contest or whatever. But, you know, long story short, you know, I never heard back, so I guess I lost. And, you know, so, you know, but I showed it to some of my family, and they were like, you know, that's pretty cool. And, you know, that's when I thought, you know, maybe more people might enjoy watching it. So I created a Facebook profile, you know, and I decided to share the video on there. And I started getting, you know, tons of friend requests. And it was like, it really all started from there. And I mean, if you ever like saw one of the first videos, they were terrible. But, people seem to enjoy them, and I enjoyed making them. So, well, you know, I'm here with you.
But yeah, man, dude, yeah, it's a great idea, and I can imagine you got a lot of friends requests, you know. So make sure y'all go and check out Talking Raider Shield. You know, it's Raider Mark, right, on social media, and we'll get back. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's not jump the gun here. But so let me ask you, how long does it take to make a video, like the birthday wishes, you know, the videos you make for people's birthdays, and 3 Keys to Victory?
Well, it takes a little while. It takes some time. When we record the 3 Keys to Victory, it takes probably about 2 to 3 hours to sync the video and animate the face and all that. But most of the other videos that I do, like for myself, you know, they're usually much shorter. So I can usually do a video in probably like 30 minutes or less.
That's cool. Yeah, it took me a little while to get used to using the editing software to make, you know, the podcast and the other videos that I do. But, you know, just after so many reps, you know, just like in football, you know, it just gets a lot easier, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So is there a particular super fan that inspired you to take the next step in your fandom?
Well, I feel like I kind of tripped and stumbled to where I got. So I wouldn't say I was inspired to get into this, but I do get a lot of inspiration from our super fans. I mean, I love the passion and the dedication that they have. I love the diversity and the love that they share with our communities. You know, so I get a lot of inspiration from that.
Yeah, dude, they definitely inspire a lot of people, and that's what, you know, I know they don't really like the word super fan, but it's just something that's kind of stuck, you know, as far as how the general, you know, population of the Raider Nation, you know, make sure that you understand what they're talking about and who they're talking about. So they definitely have inspired a lot of people.
It fits though.
Go ahead.
It fits because I mean they're different, you know.
Yeah, they are definitely, you know, they are super. It's super what they're doing, you know. But
right.
Like for me, man, the Violator, you know, the Violator really inspired me. You know, I remember being a kid, you know, teenager, and seeing him on TV, and I was like, "Whoa, that's awesome!"
In LA, right?
Yeah. Well, no. In Oakland, you know, I know he started in LA, but I remember him in Oakland, like on the Monday Night Footballs and stuff. But yeah, you know, Violator really inspired me. He, you know, it's been really awesome talking to him and doing these podcasts with him. You know, and like I said, I was gonna say a minute ago, you know, he inspired me so much that I used to have him on my tip jars, like when I worked at Thundercloud Subs. You know, I would have a bunch of in the early 2000s. You know, I'd have a bunch of the like Charlie Garner, Rich Gannon, and Tim Brown and all them on there. But there was the Violator too. You know, Definitely. It's been an honor talking to him, and hopefully me, you, and him can get something going. You know, and find a way to make a video with the 3 of us.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now, you know, there's an uproar in the Raider Nation again in 2019. Of course, we're all sick of losing, and some of us are being very vocal about it. What message do you have for the Raider Nation?
I mean, who doesn't want to win, right?
Right.
I get it. I mean, me, I yell at my TV, I cuss at the players, the coaches, and the referees, you know, and all that. But, I mean, the thing that really hurts me is when you see the bickering amongst ourselves and it starts getting hateful. You know what I mean?
Right.
It turns into like, I know more football than you. I have more insight than you. My truth is more real than yours. And, I get criticism and, strong opinions. But the truth is that ultimately it's just a game, and we have no control over it. It's entertainment and we should enjoy it with each other, and it's okay to disagree without being confrontational.
Yeah.
One thing about the Raider Nation, though, is that we're so passionate about our team and even each other, and it's easy to get carried away with our emotions. And it's really like a family, right? Because, we get upset, we might say things to hurt each other, but if anybody outside the family tries to do it, we're going to punch you in the mouth.
Damn right. That's right. We're undefeated in the parking lot, y'all. Remember that. Now I know
exactly right.
I've talked to a lot of the super fans that are trying to change that perception of the Raider Nation being a bunch of thugs or whatever, but at the same time, man, we're tight knit. Don't be disrespectful. Even if you're inside the Raider Nation, do not be disrespectful to us because we're not taking that. We've been drugged through the mud. We're a lot of times we're on edge, but we always try to look for a positive way to express ourselves, and communicate with our fellow, Raider Nation members,
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so we've talked a lot, and you've told me in the past that you try to go to at least one game a year. So
right.
Why don't you go ahead and describe the Oakland tailgate scene for the listeners that haven't experienced an Oakland Raider tailgate?
Well, I don't really know. I don't have anything to compare it to. It's something that I think you have to experience for yourself. The atmosphere is always like so charged with so much energy and love, and there's so much to see and hear. It's visceral. And I guess if I had to describe it, it would be like going to a circus inside of a rock concert, within a church, except there's beer, lots of beer.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, dude. That's how I was describing my experience in Merced. It was like I've been, through the Oakland tailgate last November, but I didn't get a chance to mingle. I didn't really know anybody. It was my first time in Oakland, but so when I went to the Raider Nation Explosion in Merced, I got an idea of what it was like because there were a bunch of super fans there and a bunch of Raider fans, man. And that was what my first thought was, is like, this is like a church revival, and everybody was really like, taking the time. They would take the time to talk to you, not only just take a picture with you, but take the time to talk to you. They were just really generous, man, and really caring. And yeah, that's a great way to describe it, man.
Yeah, it is. It is almost like a religious experience in a way. Especially if you're a big Raider fan.
Right. And ever since I went to Oakland, as I said, I fell in love with the traditions and the tailgates of the Oakland fan base. And as hard as it is to see the Raiders leave Oakland, Vegas is on the horizon. How do you feel about the Vegas move?
Well, I'm a California kid, and I feel like the Raiders are so much part of our California culture. And as a Raider fan, there's always such a point of pride, to be from the same state. And so, it's sad, and for me, and I have so many good memories, in that old dilapidated stadium, but I think that the move to Vegas is ultimately is a good decision. Raiders have always been trailblazers, right? And this is just another horizon for us to explore. I'm really sad to see them go, but I'm really excited too, for what I know the future holds for us.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's a tough pill to swallow, that's for sure. This only being the second year that I've traveled to Oakland, it's something that I'm gonna look back and regret. I'm gonna wish for the rest of my life that I had went to Oakland more and experienced what I've experienced. Because yes, man, the Oakland fan base can be rough. Don't fuck with us, right? But at the same time, man, like we're saying, it's a church-like feeling, a family-oriented fan base, man. So it's gonna be tough, but the Raider Nation will move on and stick with the team,
Yeah, and as long as we have the fans, going to the games, I mean, that's not going to be the same thing, but hopefully we'll have new traditions, you know what I mean, and new memories to make, going forward. And like I said, that excites me too.
Yeah, me too, man. Well, talking Raider Shield, it's been a pleasure sharing your story with the Raider Nation. But before we go, tell the Raider Nation how to find you on social media.
Well, first of all, thank you, because I appreciate the opportunity and the platform that you give, to so many of our fans, and I just wanted to thank you for that first. And Raider Nation, if you're not bored of me yet, I mean, you can send me a friend request on Facebook as Mark Reyes, and I'm also on Instagram as talking_Raider.
All right, well, there you have it, Raider Nation. Make sure you show your support to Raider Mark and like him on social media. Thanks for joining us on the Raider Invasion podcast. And remember, win, lose, or tie, we're Raiders until we die.